Hey Track Gang, what's going on in this week's episode of the Boeville in Newtown? Well, it's right over here. Stand by and we'll get into what's happening this week. Alright, Track Gang, and welcome to episode 3 for 2023. It happens to be January the 16th of 2023. There's going to be a part, I think, there's going to be 2 videos that come out this week, or there's going to be the Tales from the Bench that's going to be a part of this. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to end up being 2 different videos. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, check out that Tales from the Bench. Anyway, I want to go in and talk about something here real quick, because I've been beating myself up for the last 24 to 48 hours over this bridge scene. And I've come to the realization that I need to make a huge change over here. Let me swing the camera and we'll talk about what's possibly gonna happen. Alright, as you can see, I've gone ahead and I've put in my piece of quarter round. That's what I wanted to use. It's a bit taller than what I wanted, but it at least gives me the idea of what I'm looking for. I'm probably gonna have to get something that's a little bit smaller than this. I think this is 1/2 inch. I'm probably gonna have to go down to quarter. Get something just a tad bit smaller, or I could just leave that. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just a bit, like I said, it's just a bit taller than what I wanted. The baseboard back here is the same backboard that I use for the backdrop. If you look at it from the side, it's got a wonderful angle to it. It looks just like the dam up at Loch Raven as far as that goes, so that's perfect. Now, let's get down to the bridge scene out front here, and if you notice, the Central Valley Model Works bridge is missing its superstructure again. I pulled that off to the side because I was afraid I was going to mess it up, which I already have, but that's another story for a minute. The more and more I look at this bridge scene, I realize I made a huge mistake. First off, I should have probably gone and gotten a double track bridge. That's number one. If I would have known what this was going to look like, I probably would have gotten the double track bridge and done that instead. However, because of that, and the fact that somebody had mentioned in one of the late videos last year, and I believe it was one where I said damn scenery again, was a fellow, I think he's from the Union Pacific, said that he actually has a base frame 1902 bridge that he's not using. I did just reply to him again, said, hey, can you do me a favor, hit me up on email, I'm interested in the base. Why? Because I am going to do something that is probably going to drive anybody who has built a Central Valley Model Works bridge nuts. I am actually going to modify 2 singles to make a double. Now, why would you do that? Why would you not just go out and buy another bridge? First off, I won this one. This one didn't cost me a thing. That's number one. Number 2, I have beat the base of this thing along with the superstructure up very badly. I mean, I have really screwed it up because I keep moving it, and it was never designed. It was designed to be built, put in place, and left alone. The issue that I've got here is that there is really, right now, with the superstructure off, this piece of track is dead straight, this piece of track is dead straight. Inbound and out. Either way. If I put the superstructure back on this bridge, I have to move it back, which puts it closer to the dam, which also changes the dynamic of how everything looks. It just doesn't look right because now the tracks bend and they bend, go straight, and then they bend, and then come back. It's just not going to work. I had even thought about taking the Central Valley Model Works bridge and putting it on the second level up here, getting rid of this bridge and putting it there. I realized there was another problem. Between this bridge and the backdrop, there is not enough room for that superstructure. I could put the base, but I couldn't put the superstructure. It won't fit. Well, the other thing would be that, okay, well, maybe you should take out the deck girder bridges and put it up front. Again, it's just not going to look right. Beside the fact that I'd have to really modify stuff up here, and I've already started doing work up here. I don't want to mess with this too much. So, I think ultimately what I'm going to end up doing is seeing if Paul from the Union, I think it's like I said, from the Union Pacific, is willing to send me that other deck. If he is, then I'm going to modify the superstructure of that bridge, this bridge, and actually make it to where it'll be a double track. That shouldn't be too hard. I think I can do it if I can get get some more plastistructs or whatever the plastic stuff is that's out there, and just take off these pieces. The side pieces are fine. I'm going to have to, like I said, I've got to do some gluing because this thing has been moved so damn much. It's fallen apart. The sides, the uprights are fine. It's going to be the cross bracing, is redoing all of that. That's going to be different. I could probably even get a hold of Central Valley Model Works if they're still in business and see if I could get some more interior parts for it and just work off of that. Regardless, one way or the other, this thing is going to get completely changed, at least out front, one more time. It's like every time I come up with an idea, I come up with a better one. You know, it's one of those things. It's kind of like somebody else said, constant change. It's the way of a model railroad. So one of the things that I'm going to hopefully get done this week, hopefully, is going ahead and getting this blended in a little bit better, at least down to the mainline plywood. After that, I'm going to leave it alone because I don't know if I'm going to be using or continuing to use the stuff that these bridge abutments that Santa Fe Bob sent me, or if I'm going to go to something complete. Because if I get this other plate and I decide to reinvent the bridge, for lack of a better term, then these aren't going to work. These side pieces, I'm going to have to come up, I'm going to have to build something of my own, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, I kind of modified this whole thing to be able to get them in, but
I found this on the web.
Oh, stupid. I got an Apple Watch for Christmas, and for whatever reason I said something and it thought I was talking to it. But the bridge abutments are going to have to probably change. So we'll see what happens, but that's where I'm at. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get some things together, and we'll be back. Well, hello Track Gang, and welcome to the first installment of Tales from the Bench. As you can see, we're back in the workroom, or the work area. I'm getting ready to go ahead and pan down here to the workbench. I wanted to talk about something that Ron from Classic Model Trains, and I'm going to link that video below, had talked about recently with a Bachmann GP40. I've got a similar locomotive. It's not a GP40. It happens to be an F3A, or an FTA, I'm sorry, not an F3, it's an FT, which was the predecessor to the F3s, the F7s, so on and so forth. There's something very interesting with this locomotive that I wanted to bring up that I actually left him a comment about. But like I said, I wanted to link his video. I'm going to link his video below because he goes really in depth as to everything that he did to get that GP40 back up and running. And you can use the same steps to get this particular locomotive going as well. I don't need to go through what he had to go through because this here has been maintained. I bought it brand new I guess it was about 6-8 years ago. I actually backdated it back to straight DC because it was a DCC ready locomotive. I basically pulled it. Didn't have a dummy in, or it had, no, I'm sorry, it had DCC on board. I'm sorry. So I took it back to DC. I know that all the DCC guys are cringing at the moment, but because of the fact that it was an earlier version of what we have now, where the DCC locomotives will run at DC. Obviously, you don't get all of the functionality, but regardless. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop here for a minute, and we're going to go down to the bench, and I'm going to show you one of the idiosyncrasies that I found with this particular locomotive. So we'll be right back. Okay, so here is our Seaboard FTA. Now, like I said, this is a Bachmann unit, and I will let you know right now, I do have the shell loose. If you wanted to take the shell off, there's 4 screws. I haven't had the screws in this particular locomotive for a while because I've had issues with it, and I'm going to explain exactly what it is that was going on with this. So we're going to pull the shell, and don't laugh at my wiring job here. But down inside, and I'm hoping maybe, you'll see, let me get my fingers out of the way here a minute, but you'll see the coupling here. Let me let's see if I can find something that I can point with. Okay, I don't know how well this is going to work, but we'll try. Down in here, there is a coupling, the jack shaft that goes to the gear tower. One of the issues that I was having, and of course Ron, like I said, explained this, that you want to leave these trucks a little loose because if you tighten them up too much, they won't spin and they won't rock, which will cause a derailment problem. What was happening with this particular locomotive is the coupling here was too close to the motor, and every time it went around a corner, it would, when it turned, the jack shaft was popping out of that coupling. And I know I keep rotating here, but that's because I need to see what I'm pointing at. So what I ended up doing was scooching very slightly and very carefully that coupling towards the gear tower, so that way there was enough grab on that coupling to where if it went around a corner, it wasn't going to, the jack shaft wasn't going to pop out. Now, this is an 8-wheel drive locomotive, which means that you've got the same thing on the back side. Now, this one here I did not have an issue with. The coupling on the back end was not a problem. It was on the front, and the way that you would know if you did have an issue is this thing is very heavy. This is all lead. This whole frame is lead. So it's a very heavy locomotive. Well, it needs its 8-wheel drive. If that coupling comes loose, you've got 4-wheel drive and you've got nothing for pulling power. It will stall. So it's just one of those things that I wanted to, and I've got to work on getting that taped back down. It was just one of those things that I wanted to bring up that he did, well, he kind of talked about. But because of the fact, like I said, I had had issues with this numerous times and could not figure out why it kept having that problem where it would drop the 4-wheel drive instead of the 8-wheel drive. And like I said, I eventually figured it out. So it's one of those things. And you may find that you have the same issue with the GP40s or any other of the models where they've got that jack shaft going to the gear towers. If you look at it and it's losing power, I look there first. And obviously, like I said, since I did take this locomotive back to DC, even if it's a DCC, you're probably going to notice it. So it's something to be aware of. I don't know if it was necessarily a manufacturing problem or if it was just something that happened over time. Otherwise, this thing is a great locomotive. I love it. It's got, like I said, it's got some great detail. And yeah, like I said, it runs great. You just have to be aware of that coupling issue. So I'm going to stop here for a minute, and we'll be back. All right, track gang, pardon me, that's basically all I've got for this. Like I said, again, I am going to link that video where Ron went in depth of how to lubricate, maintain the locomotive. Eventually, I will probably show that again on my channel. But since it's somewhat fresh, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to go that route. This has been running fine. I just wanted to show that neat little idiosyncrasy with the gearing and the jack shaft and that coupling. So, okay, truck gang. I didn't get anything nearly done that I wanted to get done this week. Just a lot of different things happened. I mean, I actually had a day off on Monday, but you know, the normal life stuff. So anyway, as you saw, I have included the Tales from the Bench into this, and there is some news. There is going to be some changes coming to that bridge scene. It's going to be unique. I will give it that. I'm not sure how it's going to work out yet, but we'll stick around because that little project has just become a lot bigger than what I had originally planned. But that's a good thing. I think it's going to work out for the best. Thank you to Paul from the Union Central. He's actually sending me something in the mail that is going to help me out with that bridge scene. So stick around because, like I said, that scene's going to become very unique. I'm going to be taking a bit of a foray into kit bashing. Let's just put it that way, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. In some other news, I have been running some ops sessions. I've been working it off of those train cards that I made, which is actually working very well. I did find one little idiosyncrasy, and that was, it was a good thing, but it was something that threw me off. I originally put the two unit trains are on Schedule 2 and Schedule 18. When I built the train cards, I left them on 2 and 18. When I was going through the cards and I was looking, I'm like, wait a minute, I go from Schedule 24 on the freight to Schedule 4. So it went from 24 to 4. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to 2? Well, because of the fact that with the way things ran, the train 18 came a lot later, and that's where train 2 actually, so I had to go back and actually do a little bit of shuffling with that. I also found out that I mislabeled, I think it was train 16 south. I actually have it in there as a through freight when it's actually supposed to be a local freight. You know, these types of things, I think, no, was it the south or the north? No, it was the south. That's right. It was the southbound train. So I'm going to go back and just fix that label. I kind of made a note on that card. I'm going to actually, and this is something I wanted to bring up real quick, I'm actually going to go back on those cards, and I'm actually going to, on the back side, label what it is that they're supposed to be doing. In other words, you know, especially for the local freights, it's a little bit more needed than what it would be for the through freights. Obviously, the through freights go from one yard to the other, and that's it. For the local freights, it's a little different. It's okay, so I'm supposed to go here, drop off these cars, pick up these cars, so on and so forth. One of the other things that I did happen to remember is one of the things that David Pop had brought up, and or actually it may have even been Bruce Chubb, and that is having near your industries a card that says what's supposed to happen there and how you're supposed to, or at least give you an idea as to how you're supposed to operate that particular industry or industries. Case in point would be like the Weikert industrial area over here, where you know you're going to have to make a call into the dispatcher to have them stop the trains on the main line, because the main line is going to be tied up for a short period of time as the switcher goes over and pulls the boxcar from Newtown station and picks that one up, or the one that's already there picks that one up, takes it back to Weichert Industrial. That doesn't take that long, but it's one of those things, there is going to have to be a stoppage, and that's during freight operations anyways. That's during the through freights that those trains will have to stop. Other than that, that's kind of where I'm at with this whole thing at the moment. I will tell you that I have some family things that are coming up, which means that the videos may end up being a little bit few and far between, at least for the next couple of weeks. Figure probably the next one that may come out would be probably somewhere around the middle of February. Like I said, I've got some things that are going to be going on, and that are going to require my attention. So I'm going to be probably taking a bit of a step back. I'm still going to be doing some things, may not necessarily be recorded, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. Other than that, you all know the deal. Wait for the highball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch you all next time. Be safe. God bless. Oh, almost forgot. Sidetrack Sunday this week. My channel, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern, Sunday. That would be Sunday the 22nd, maybe? I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone to just double check. That would be the 22nd, yes. So January 22nd, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern, my channel, Sidetrack Sunday, and we'll be discussing who that mystery person is that joined the team. And trust me, the chat that we have between the STS group, it's just been, oh my God. So with that, now, you all know the deal. Wait for the highball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch y'all next time. Be safe. God bless. We will see ya.